Yes, boxing fans, it's your boy Big Nige, and welcome to our weekly update of Boxing Weekly Roundup. I mean, I'll be honest with you, it's not as exciting as last week's, I'll be honest with you, but there was live boxing that took place this weekend. It was at BT Sport headquarters, Frank Warren Promotions. Daniel Dubois stopped Ricardo Snijders in 2 rounds. In all honesty, I didn't expect anything less. He should get the victory. They said the reason for fighting this opponent, he was brought in at last minute anyways. He was basically to shake off the cobwebs because he hasn't fought in 8 months. The real test I'm looking forward to is obviously October 24th when he fights Joe Joyce for the European heavyweight title. So my question to all boxing fans is, we all know he's supposed to be dubbed the next big thing in the heavyweight division. I believe he is going to be a serious contender in due time, and he will shake up the division. But looking at his record, are people, especially Frank Warren, are people getting too excited by his knockouts, even though his record, other than Nathan Gorman, who I don't really rate, no disrespect, he's knocking them out. He should be doing that, right? I believe this is going to be his real acid test. We're going to see if he's got a chin. We're going to see if he can slug. We all know he can bang, and we all know he can box because he's got a great jab on him. But I believe with Joe Joyce, it's gonna bring more out of him. So I don't know. I do believe he wins, but I don't know. Joe Joyce ain't no slouch. Joe Joyce is quite slow as well, to be honest. Like, not even no ratings like that. Daniel Dubois should win because obviously he's younger fighter, and he's on a momentum. And my question is to you guys: if he wins that fight and becomes European champion, where does he go from there? Because I don't think he's ready to be knocking on the doors of the world class fighters. I'm talking about Andy Ruiz, I'm talking about Wilder, I'm talking about AJ Fury. He's not ready for those. I don't even think he's ready for Dylan White as well, and neither Povetkin as well. So who would you consider to be the gateway in order for him to be progress until the next level, if you get what I mean? So I would say he needs to, if he does beat Joe Joyce, the Marius Wax, Robert Helenius. I would love to see him against Michael Hunter. I think Michael Hunter gives him a hard night's work. I think he beats Joseph Parker. Let me know your thoughts. I think if he beats Joe Joyce, he still needs to tick a few more boxes before he can be considered world title contention. Don't get me wrong, he is good, but his record has been pretty much straightforward. It's been given the opponents, and that's what Frank Warren does. We saw that with Anthony Yard. Tactical opposition, which raises your profile in your rankings. And when he did finally get a world title shot, he come up short. I don't want that to happen to Daniel Dubois because I do believe he is a good boxer and he has got a bright future. But surely after this Joe Joyce fight, he needs to start fighting tougher opponents with better caliber, basically. So let me know your thoughts on that one. Also in action that night was Sonny Edwards. He beat Thomas Essomba. Correct me if I'm wrong. I've seen Sonny Edwards fight live and I knew he was good, but watching him again this weekend, very impressive. Slick, can switch from orthodox to southpaw, very good with his feet, great counter puncher. He did get caught a few times, but I just felt like he got a bit cocky. But I guess again, I think against better opposition, he doesn't slip up like that. There was one shot in the fight where he leaned forward and was in counter with Thomas and Essomba, and I think he threw a right, and then he was in an orthodox position and slipped, and then managed to get his body into a southpaw position and jabbed out. And I just thought, wow. And I think I said this about last week. The lower weight classes, if you don't have power, your skill set has to be of a certain standard. And I feel he's at super flyweight. I feel like he's very, very technically gifted. The only thing is, after that win, he's been knocking on the door for a world title shot. You got Chocolito, Roman Gonzalez, and you got Juan Estrada. Estrada. I'll be honest with you. I know Gonzalez beat Calya fight, and they're supposed to fight Estrada next. I don't know, with them man there, I don't know if he's good. Sonny Edwards is good, but to be honest with you, I don't know if his skill set is that good to be competing with them man. But there's no harm in him trying, innit? But from what I've seen of him now, he looks good. He looks the part. I don't know if he was a British champion at one point. I don't know whether it's worth him going through the European Youth and building more, or he's been knocking on the door for a world title. So we'll see. But from what I've seen so far, he looks the part. So we'll see how his career pans out, really. David Adeleye was also in action that night. He stopped Phil Williams. Phil Williams had only been stopped 3 times prior before that. So it was a good performance from David Adeleye. One thing that shocked me though is he's 6'4" but comes in at 15 stone. That's quite light for a heavyweight. So I know, don't get me wrong, he's only 3-0, he's got a long way to go, but amongst serious contenders, eventually when he does fight those contenders, he's going to be coming in at a very lightweight, but I guess his style works for him. He's very explosive, very quick, and I wouldn't say elusive, but moves quite well in the ring. At the end of the fight, he called out Fabio Wardley. At first, I thought to myself, bit of a stretch, because you're only 3-0. But then I checked up Fabio Wardley's English champion and 9-0. But he's just probably been through the gears a bit more. Be an interesting contest. I mean, there's no harm in him fighting. But again, that's Fabio Wardley being on Matchroom and David Adeleye on Frank Warren. It's a no-brainer, guys. Get these 2 promoters in the office. Let's get these fights going. But yeah, so from what I've seen of David Adeleye, looks the part right now, and it'll be interesting to see how his career pans out. Apparently, he's been sparring with Daniel Dubois quite a bit. I would love to have seen those sparring videos. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see. It's been reported that Kell Brook has been offered $1.5 million to fight Terrence Crawford up next in his next fight. I'll be honest with you, boxing fans, Kell Brook is finished. He's been finished from Triple G. He's been done at it. The minute he stepped up to go 2 weight classes to go fight Triple G, he was done at here. He then obviously went back down to welterweight to fight Errol Spence. He bust his eye socket as well. And I'll be honest with you, his last 2 fights, who's his last 2 fights? I can't even remember. Let me check actually, boxing fans. Kell Brook. Yeah, so his last 2 fights were against Michael Sephora and Mark DeLuca, which are all at light middleweight. So he doesn't even make welterweight no more. So I don't understand the angle where Crawford is going with that. The only thing I can think of is he's a former world champion at the weight. A credible name to have on his record, considering Terrence Crawford really hasn't got much big names on his record, especially at welterweight anyways. And lastly, Errol Spence beat him for the IBF title. So I'm guessing if he fights Kell Brook, not his aim, but in the back of his mind, he'll be thinking, I've got to dispose of him in a clean manner, fashionable, in comparison to the way Errol Spence done it. I don't know. But in my opinion, Crawford wins. It's just a matter of how and when, really. And like I said, Kell Brook has done out here. We ain't going to see the Amir Khan fight. Let him just get his last payday and call it a day. No disrespect, Kell Brook. You're a great servant to the game, but you're done out here, my bro. You're finished. This weekend also, Jose Ramirez beat Viktor Postol to retain his WBC and WBO titles. Apparently it was a tie contest, and many feel that Viktor Postol may have got the victory. I haven't seen the fight just as yet. Just been reading online and so on and so forth. Viktor Postol is no slouch, first and foremost. Highly credible. Now he's only got three losses to his record. Terrence Crawford, Josh Taylor, and now Jose Ramirez. I really, really, really rate Viktor Postol, and I believe if any super lightweight is trying to break into that world title scene, then Viktor Postol is kind of like the gateway. He gives you the pass. You beat me, and then you can go into that scene. I mean, all of his defeats were on points, so they weren't by massive margins. Interesting though, with Josh Taylor beating him and now Jose Ramirez, both are basically the two kings of the division, where hopefully we get to see that fight sometime next year. If I was Josh Taylor and I saw that fight that took place over the weekend, I'll be thinking I've got Ramirez's number, because it was such a tight contest and he only edged him, and some people say Viktor Postol won, whereas Josh Taylor was pretty much not early in his career, but that was his first acid test. And I won't say he beat him convincingly, but he beat him on the points, and it wasn't a no-brainer, but he beat him fair and square. So if I'm Josh Taylor, I'm thinking, I've got your number, Ramirez, and it's only a matter of time before I clean up the division. I can't wait for Josh Taylor to go up to welterweight, because I'm not being funny, but after he beats Ramirez, which I do believe he does, what's next for him? He's Ring Magazine, he's IBF, and he's WBA champion. Once he cleans up, it'll be interesting to see how he fares against the welterweights, because I do believe the welterweight division is a different gravy. But let me know your thoughts, boxing fans. Was Viktor Postol, was he deserved the loss, or should we see a rematch, or do you guys just want to see Ramirez v Josh Taylor for all the belts undisputed next year? Anthony Joshua has basically fired shots saying that he will beat Tyson Fury within 6 rounds. He will knock him out in 6 rounds. Bold statement, my bro. I can't lie. First and foremost, that's what the first come to mind. But then at the same time, I had to think about it, and it's like, in order for AJ to get the victory, I can't see him beating him on points, in all honesty. He beats him by the knockout, but when was the last time we saw AJ beat a fighter within 6 rounds? He beat Charles Martin in 2. He beat Eric Molina in 3. And then, which was about, 2018 or 2017. And then in 2018 we saw him fight Klitschko, that went 11 rounds. Joseph Parker went the distance. Carlos Takam was in 10. So he hasn't really beaten. We haven't really seen an AJ knockout within 6 rounds in a long, long time. So it's a massive, bold statement. But again, you being in the position that you are, you got to back yourself, and you got to talk that crowd. So I don't know, boxing fans. Does AJ beat Fury in 6 rounds? Or does he beat him on points? I personally don't believe he beats him on points. I don't think he beats him in 6. He probably beats him within, I'd say, probably championship rounds. So probably from 8, 9, 10, 11, maybe. Who knows? Let me know your thoughts. Whilst we're on Tyson Fury, it's been scheduled that Fury and Wilder will be fighting for their trilogy December 19th. So at least we get to end 2020 similar to how we started it, really, with Wilder and Fury at the beginning of the year, and Wilder Fury again at the end of the year. We all know the outcome, but don't write off Deontay Wilder just as yet. But let me know your thoughts. That's it for the Boxing Weekly updates from myself, Big Nige. Thank you again to all the boxing fans for tuning in. New viewers, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification button. And hit that notification button at the bottom. Thank you again. Peace.